Welcome to Monster Bear Productions.
2, 1. All right. So welcome to Monster Bear Productions. Possibly be a round table tonight. We'll see. But for right now, I have AJ here with me. AJ Peterson.
Hi.
All right, there you go. Just got off work. Had the courageous convictions to actually come onto the podcast episode and actually conversate and actually give his voice and thoughts about the political climate we're in here today and
Yeah, well, my opinions.
Right, everybody's kind of ducking hide. Everybody had posting on Facebook talking all this good hypey stuff. Like, I want to talk about it on air. Have maybe somebody challenging your belief. No, I'm good. I'm gonna save my social bubble, and that's the reason why I think Trump is losing right now. I'm just saying.
I thought he was losing because he told people not to vote by mail.
Yeah, but people were saying that it's because a bunch of dead people are voting. That's why. A bunch of dead people are voting out there. It's the Walking Dead.
Political interference is a pretty frequent thing anyway.
Yeah, happens every year. Well, every 4 years.
I mean, like Trump shot himself in the foot by just blatantly doing whatever he wanted, and then when it was done back to him, he like cried foul, but it was too hypocritical. I don't like Biden either. Don't get me wrong; he goes fucking suck.
Right.
The situation we're in now.
Yeah, for real, man. I actually kind of saw this tight, political race come this close. I actually thought it was going to be like this, especially how hard they was pushing for Pennsylvania. Like the simulation must have been close. Especially Trump didn't help himself because most people you can convince yourself to love some of Trump's rhetoric, but if you're on the outside, you were on the fence. His rhetoric kind of made you like, I don't want this, and plus everybody's tired of talking about politics every 2 days and every day. They just want things to go back to normal, so they think Biden might get them back to normal.
Well, I think that there's too many single issue voters out there. There's too many people who think, oh, well, I like guns, so I have to vote Trump. No, you don't. First off, gun laws don't work. Like, we all know they don't work.
Yeah.
I have no registered guns to me right now, but guess how many guns I have? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, you don't need to register. You don't need to purchase them legally. You can make a gun for literally $20 at a hardware store. You can make a functioning gun. So if you like guns, it doesn't need to support Trump, or you need to be against, the same if kind of you're more to the social aspect of it, the liberals help everyone's side. You can be like that and still like Trump. The single issue is just a load of shit in my mind.
Yeah, being a single issue voter is a load of shit, though. It really is. And it's funny because they'll say all right, because someone can come in and say, okay, well, we won't touch your guns, but we'll take away your freedom of speech. And which has been happening nowadays. Like, if you say what you want about, I know it's a private company, private organization, but people got someone who's radical as Alex Jones kicked off the air. You have people like that get kicked off the air, which they're losing their freedom of speech. Because I think personally the Constitution need to be updated with the with technology, because
the freedom of speech thing, I've always taken kind of a weird stance on this.
Yeah.
I do think that they should not have the right to sell. I think we're fucking idiots that we give them the right to censor us when we agree to their terms.
Yeah.
We all sign that away. So I mean, yeah, it sucks that they can just censor someone because Jack Dorsey disagrees with you about whatever he disagrees with you about. But at the same time, that's something we all agreed to. We kind of created these monsters. So now we have to develop our own platforms and just let people say whatever they want. Or I don't know. No one's going to stop using Twitter, so I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Now, Twitter is such a powerhouse. YouTube is such a powerhouse now that they're up there with the Rockefellers. Pretty much they're not gonna go anytime soon. They're not. Nothing's gonna happen to them.
Rockefellers took years to build their power. YouTube and Twitter took months. Well, I mean, YouTube is technically a major player for 2 decades or whatever. But yeah, it's just that when too many people flock to something, even if they're not giving it money, even if you're just giving something attention, you're kind of creating the ability for that to later gain power to use against you.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's usually what happens, and you start to become the thing you hated the most kind of styles. Like I hate people who fight against freedom of speech, but I don't like the way he said that, so I'm going to flag it, take it down, but go after Twitter, go after YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and it forces these companies to tie their hands, especially when they're getting lawsuits all over the place and everything like that, and they got to deal with that. At the end of the day, they're still a corporation trying to make some money, so they don't want to deal with lawsuits every single day. So they just start banning stuff and go what the majority is saying, and just start getting rid of them.
Yeah, well, that you become what you hate. There's an old saying for that. It's either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Prime example would be Bill Gates. Bill Gates lived too long. Now he's the villain. The whole world switched on Bill Gates.
Yeah, right. So now we're like, fuck you, bud.
Right? Yeah, the whole world switched on Bill Gates, man. Like, has Bill Gates been the same guy forever? He's always been a eugenicist. He's always been this guy. He hasn't nothing really changed about it. He always did research and chemicals and viruses and whatnot. He's always been testing stuff and working stuff out, trying to help people out with this, testing that stuff. It's always been the same, but the world needed someone to blame, and it was Bill Gates. Bill Gates was the guy.
You never truly know somebody until you've asked every question you could. Yeah. So a lot of the people who Bill Gates and they like the way he was, they just don't like the way he's answering questions.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they don't like him anymore. He is still Bill Gates. They just don't like his stance. Yeah. And too many people have reached this kind of partisan way of thinking, where if you don't agree with me, we can't be friends. You think that I should vaccinate my child, and I think polio is survivable. Right.
Pretty much, yeah. You come to like a stalemate, anti-vaxxers and vaxxers, and then and then in the middle, like, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think you should get vaccinated for everything. I never get my flu shot. But it's the funny thing about it is the chances are, if you took 2 people to anti-vax and one heavily for the vaccines, and you gave them an environment where they never had to talk about vaccines, they would be friends.
Yeah.
The second that one thing comes up, then they're like, I fucking hate that guy.
I hate that guy. We're not friends anymore. You like red, I like blue. Get out of here. We're not friends anymore. That's exactly what it comes to.
No one cares.
No one cares about you. We're not even friends. I never liked you anyway. I hated that time you came over to my house and you coughed and you never said excuse me.
Horrible. Really cool day.
Right?
That's
so
wait for it. It's going to be like, hey, you never wore a mask in the pandemic. Fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much. I see videos of you in the hospital. You said the virus wasn't real. How come you were in the hospital, huh? How come you were in the hospital? You sending out tweets saying the virus isn't real. Yeah, it turns into like that, man. People start becoming they find a way to justify not to like that person because they're becoming to like their own little social circle. I realize, like in your social circle, you have to adapt all those beliefs, even though you don't have 100% in those beliefs. And if you don't adapt all those beliefs, you become like a weird, like a anomaly. So people kind of like, they don't either call you a liberal or a conservative. They don't know what to call you because you get attacked from both sides. Because you have a certain way, like, okay, I may agree with stuff on the liberals, but I don't agree with everything on the people who are liberal. I may agree with stuff on the conservative, but I don't agree with everything that's on the conservative side. So that you become the straight and narrow, which majority of people are. But
yeah, they're independent or centrist, or they just like left leaning or right leaning, but they just get swept up in this group. And it's funny because there's actually more independent voters than there is of the other 2 parties combined.
Yeah. Seriously.
we think of these minority groups like there could be 5 of them could be Republicans and 2 of them could be liberal. And for some reason, between these 7 people, the rest of the 1,000 are going to get grouped in with it.
Yeah.
That's the broad way we think of things. It's like when people think of like, fuck. There's a French word for it. I don't remember. But yeah, it's actually a psychological phenomenon where we try and see ourselves and others and the aspects that we have in common with people that we don't like about ourselves.
Yeah.
We will actually like that person because of it.
Yeah.
So even though we would have no personal stake in, say, an election, because other people do, we would want to involve ourselves subconsciously. So we start looking at which side we agree with, which side we don't, or sometimes talk shit on both. Some people do.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why when people fall in love and hard, like right now, it'd be kind of scary if Trump lose, or even if Biden lose. It's gonna be scary how people are going to adapt to this. It's fascinating, but not scary in a bad way. It's like how people are going to react to this, because it's almost, we feel like you're losing a loved one, but the whole nation will feel like they're losing a loved one, or a majority of the nation will feel like they lost a loved one, regardless who wins or who loses. It's going to be, because this one's totally different than any other election that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, we've probably had situations like this, maybe not on a global scale, but we've probably had situations like this before, even in America, just not on this scale. And the funny thing about it is, and I don't think people, it doesn't truly matter.
Doesn't prove what? Sorry, cut out the end.
It doesn't truly matter who wins. It really, because no power is actually shifting. Yes, there's executive actions, but those can be overruled. We still have largely the same people in the Senate and the Congress, and they're the actual, actually, ever since John F. Kennedy, presidents have been getting more and more of the spotlight. He was the first TV president, and, like Obama would go and do comedy shows and shit. And the presidents have been more and more into the limelight, and Trump was just kind of the tip of the iceberg, because, like, you can see what he had. The more we look at Trump, the less we look at what's actually happening in the government.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
In the partisanship, like, do you know how many bills Congress has passed just since the start of 2020? I don't see.
Wasn't it? It was.
I think it was like 200 and something.
Was it 200? Because last I know, this was like a while ago. I heard they had like 150 something. It was 150 something bills that passed. Like they were running through it, especially during like I think in July they passed like the second most in U.S. history.
Yeah. Do you know how many of those Mitch McConnell has looked at? It's more than one.
No.
No, I'm not major bills.
Yeah.
Every day, just working of Congress. He literally has publicly stated even that he refuses to look at it. He calls himself the Grim Reaper of the Senate.
Yeah.
And it's because he don't like that they have the majority. I'm not saying he's wrong. Nancy Pelosi's a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
But he's vocal about this, and it's funny because he's telling people about a gross abuse of power. That, on the left are like, no, he needs to be removed. This isn't how the system's supposed to be used. And the people on the right are just like, crap about it, libtards. But they're both wrong.
They're right.
Pushing a fuck ton of bills just to make it seem like your Congress is doing something is wrong. It's like throwing shit at a wall and calling it art. One of them every 100 might be art, but the other 99 are just shit on a wall. And the outright refusal to look at them on the other end is also wrong. But neither of them is losing anything from starting political fights. They're actually just gaining further traction within their own party. I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. It started to cut out to tell in, but you was on the road. I wanted you to keep going, so I don't want to interrupt you.
I
But
got like a minute.
all right. But yeah, man, like you were saying there, like you were saying earlier, yeah, like when they like come in throwing shit at the wall and calling it art, that is very true. That they're acting like they're doing something during this whole entire thing, but they're doing tedious, meaningless things, like passing bills about light, the dimness of lights. It's like really, like is that where really our text hour is going to? Stuff like that, and then they're just doing all this needless spending on like, in my opinion, I believe idiotic, stupid stuff. While they're throwing Trump as like kind of like the face. It's almost like they're in the background. They're the real Wizard of Oz, and Trump is just that big old hologram up front that every once in a while just signs up a executive order, and that they'll either like yay or nay it. That's pretty much it, you know. So,
no, this game's as old as civilization itself. It's been played since the days of Roman Senate. It's just, and it's weird how blatant it is now. How like you can literally just look up someone saying something, and then watch them do like a press conference 3 days later where they directly contradict themselves.
Yeah, and that's.
What?
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to do that. Yeah.
It is brought up. That's the funny thing. If it is brought up, the answer is always so simple and infuriating. Well, things change.
Yep.
And then generally, at some point within their own little soliloquy they have, where they got caught in a lie, now they're defending the lie, they generally go and they say something about something that will never change. Like, things change. When I said prostitution was wrong, that was before I fell in love with a prostitute.
Yeah.
And, you know, on prostitution, though, they'll say something, they'll do another thing, and then they'll double down on the original thing they said, and we just all pretend that that's normal.
Because they figure out a way to tap into your primal instincts of empathy. So when they say that, they'll try to make it like, for example, your prostitute thing. Well, things changed. I fell in love with this prostitute. You know? Oh, sorry.
My mom was a whore. Never mind.
Oh. I bet she was a nice lady. I don't know. But yeah, when I say that, you use that empathy card. So then you start to.
My day started at like 5.
What's that, buddy?
What?
It cut out again. It's like it cut in and it cuts out every once in a while.
Oh, I've just been awake for too long.
All right, we'll make this one kind of short, man. I won't keep you up too long. We'll probably. All right.
What were you saying though?
Was you saying about the prostitute thing? They figure out a way to tap into your empathy card to play with your heartstrings. So that way, like you were saying earlier, where you like to see yourself in that person and see like you start to empathize with a person and tap into your vulnerabilities of that. So like that, I figured that's the way they talk. They use certain words to trigger that primal mindset. Like, you know, things change. Am I not allowed to grow? Can I like not go towards the light kind of style and see what my faults were at the beginning when I said that 2 days ago? This is a totally different scenario. You know, it's like one of those kind of things. But yeah, then they'll go off and their action was do what they said prior, and then they'll come to you and lie to your face again, saying like, well. It changed again, okay? Yeah, go ahead.
That I personally believe in is you use the term lie to your face, right?
Yeah.
That's a very common term. So when you see someone lie directly in front of you, like you're in the same room with them, or they're lying to you and you know it's a lie, that's a very personal thing because they're addressing you personally. So when you see someone lie on TV, you see someone obviously like lying to impress someone or whatever. We don't take that lie as a personal affront, because that is not a lie directed at us. That is a lie that we are. So whenever they do things like that, whenever they blatant and then caught in their own line, one of the reasons why we're so desensitized to it is because we all know how dishonest the world is. Everybody at some point in their childhood has to face the reality that, Santa Claus isn't real.
Somebody isn't real.
Everybody has to come to that realization. From that point onward, we just progressively throughout life learn how dishonest people. So whenever a president or a politician lies on TV, even if they get caught in it, one of the reasons why it doesn't seem to affect people as much as it should is because they're not telling us the lie. They're telling everyone the lie.
Yeah.
Kind of cognitive dissonance to it too. Like you can tell that they're lying. This is part of the partisan divide too, because you can tell that they're lying, but then if you tell them politically, it's like, hey, he was lying, instead of actually hearing what you have to say, their automatic response is, no, he wasn't. You're lying about him lying. And it's because we're taking a non-personal stance in it, and they're taking a personal. Because in their mind, if he was lying, he was lying to them. But if he was lying and they support him, that means they're supporting a lie. But me, who has no personal stake in it, if I say that he's lying, and they just call me a liar, then in their mind that there's no harm done. It's a weird kind of 7 degrees of separation level of bullshit on that. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like Trump, but I love his whole presidency. Just supporters, it's a rush of dopamine that I could follow, I would, and make a good bit of money. Because I used to tell Trump supporters, give them hypothetical, not letting them know that I was talking about Trump, giving your daughter exclusive and giving her the highest security. They'd be like, yeah, that's fucking wrong. Who would allow that? I'm like, I know, we should revoke Ivanka's security clearance. Personal to them. They'd be like, well, you let me up. No, that was wrong.
He said that was wrong, yeah. It's like people like finding a way to justify and lie to yourself because it's part of your team. Like it's part of your. It's like a family member,
I be arguing. I'm a very bored person. Work 2 jobs and don't have to. Arguing with strangers on that's a good way to kill time.
It is. It is. It's actually a very fun way. It's fun way to. It's a fun way especially when you get them, like the way you were saying like that, when you revoke Vodka's trunk, and the look at either if you're doing it in person, look on their face is like, it's like you gotta figure out a way to compute and flip around to blame, like instantly blame you for leading them on to make you feel like I won't feel bad because the person I'm supporting, there's probably a reason why she did that, There's probably a reason why she did that, and there's probably
it's like how everyone wants to believe that they're. Have you ever heard a story about like a parent or a relative that you couldn't believe at first, like like an uncle or something, that they got drunk, stole a car, and crashed into a building? And like, there's no way they could do that. I think that's for everyone that with politics right now. They're like, I like this. They can't do anything wrong. But eventually, it's the point where like, well, they did that, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, but did you see how fast he was going? I'm just surprised that he lived. Yeah, granted, he fucking took that that fentanyl and crashed to that hospital and killed 15 people. But did you see how he rolled that car and survived?
In the hospital, they were dying anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They were dying anyway. They didn't. They had their mask off, or they had their mask on. It just depends on the fence that you're on, but you can find a way.
Or the dementia patients. They won't remember.
They won't remember. They didn't want to be there anyway. Why were they at the hospital? The question is, why were they at the hospital? Okay, so they're taking our money.
Anyone could steal a car and crash in that hospital. Why would they be there?
Why would they be there? Like, why are they at the hospital personally at that hospital? I know these are like extreme radical examples, but this is like, it feels like when you talk to somebody who has this deep entrenched mindset of which side of the fence that you're on. This is what it feels like. It's like you're justifying a person who crashed into the hospital and killed, like, I don't know, 35 people high from fentanyl, and you're justifying that person because you like that person. It's like, it's just like, oh man, it's okay to say that he's wrong. Huh?
It could politics, other thing. I have an example here. Mm-hmm. There's another thing. Okay, so I got a pit bull, right?
Right.
Apparently, people fucking hate these dogs. They think that there's this long history of violence behind pit bulls. Because it was every time a pit bull attacks somebody, you know, it almost makes national news.
Yep.
But what people don't know is that pit bulls have been used as nanny dogs for 200 years. Mm-hmm. The pit bull attacks are more of a recent thing because people fought them, you know. Yeah. But Chihuahuas attack roughly 10 times more people than pit bulls.
Yeah. They're leading the nation right now, actually, in animal, like domestic pet violence, like bites and whatnot. Yeah. Chihuahuas.
But you'll never hear about a Chihuahua attacking someone. And it's because we have a confirmation bias with pit bulls. It's kind of like if a pit bull is around children it hasn't been before and it just walks up and licks them. We don't say that that's surprising. If we thought that they were vicious, that would be surprising. But if a kid is picking on a pit bull and the pit bull bites the kid, our confirmation bias says, well, that's not surprising. Pit bulls bite kids.
Typical.
Even though pit bulls bite way less kids than Chihuahuas do. And that's another one of those deep set things that we've just allowed as society to be into. And confirmation bias plays a really important part in politics too. Kind of like the whole, if you like guns, you have to vote Republican. Then one is if you like medical, you know, if you support a medical system that doesn't ban, you have to vote Democrat. And the confirmation bias behind that is kind of funny because when you look at it, like the conservatives are saying they want to defend themselves. The liberals are saying that they want health care. Why can't we have both?
All right, we're back from the technical difficulties. You say something now, kid?
I teleported.
Yeah, there you go. I saw that. You went outside of me. You changed. Your hair changed. Yeah. Teleported. You got a cigarette out of nowhere. This is fascinating, ladies and gentlemen. We figure out teleportation.
True 50,000 too.
Right? And, oh man, this is pretty wild, man. But like you were saying, confirmation bias earlier. Yeah, it's the confirmation bias is, I think, the leading cause of why people are so baffled about what's going on in the world today. Because everybody looks for their favorite YouTuber, whether it be the Hodge twins, everybody, if you're on the right, or Destiny, if you're on the left, kind of style. They'll find somebody to get their own confirmation bias. Like, yeah, we're gonna win, pretty much to amp yourself up.
The confirmation bias is less about whether or not you win or lose. It's more about, I'm sure you've seen a headline. Yeah. Depending on which way they lean, but it could be like someone saying, "No surprise that so and so wants to do something." When they're saying "no surprise," that's part of the confirmation bias. Mm-hmm. They're saying that of course they're doing something bad. They're bad people.
Yeah,
we're using what they do in a negative light to confirm our own bias against them. Hence the confirmation bias.
Right.
And when they do something positive, we just ignore it. Well, I mean, we don't. Average people don't. But the people trying to portray them in a certain light just ignore any good they do. and highlight the bad.
Yeah.
It's propagation at its finest.
Yeah, that's like one of propaganda right there. Like that's why I think like when I was saying earlier about that like when people say like you say like doesn't like matter when you win or lose. But I think when you start saying we're gonna win over and over again, it give you that bias of thinking we're gonna win. There's no way this person can lose. Look at Biden; he's in the cognitive decline. Who will want that? He's sniffing girls, sniffing babies. On the other side, look at Trump. He's a racist. He's putting, Latinos in cages and whatnot. There's no way we can vote for him. He's going to win. So when you lose, you realize in your head, you're thinking, I've seen all these thousands and thousands of videos, read all these articles, I read all this stuff like that said that this guy's going to lose. And these are the reasons why. And then when it does happen, you just in disbelief and everybody around you just idiotic and everything's a big old conspiracy, And that's when you start.
That's when they start back with the it's a fraud.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, election interference has been around as long as elections have been around.
Okay.
But we already kind of set the stage that we're just going to have to accept the results. If there is interference and we can prove it, disregard the interference. Take those votes away if we can prove they're fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, just baselessly saying that, oh no, an example I got was I still live here in Delta County. That no one in Delta County voted for Biden. And that's not true. There's people with Biden signs in their yard. Do you think they put a Biden sign up?
All right, and we're back again. I think the FBI is getting a hold of this and they're shutting us down. They don't want us to talk about this. They heard fraud. They said cut them off, cut them off. But yeah, so as you were saying before.
That's actually why theft is illegal.
Yeah.
IRS hates competition.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. If you make stuff that things illegal, you create a competition. A lot of people don't want that. That's where you get the fat cats up top saying we want to make this illegal. We give you some money for this. Now this is illegal. You can't do that.
We don't even hide the fact that they're doing that. The lobbyists basically lay bare their interests and intentions right from the start. Like, we know what they're doing. They admit to it. And we just let them do it.
Let them do it. Because they started using fancy words and they make people so overworked that they don't pay attention anymore. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like, if you don't try and look for what?
They desensitize us to it.
Yeah.
With such an onslaught so quick of just so many things that shouldn't be happening. And we just started accepting that as an everyday fact of life, that it shouldn't be happening, but it is. It'll always happen. So just let it happen.
Right. Yeah.
Just let it become the norm.
Come on, guys. It's okay. We know what they are up there. We know they're pretty much fucking us, but it's all right. They've been fucking us for years. Don't do anything about it. Oh, look at these guys. Look at these revolutionaries. Look at these guys.
It's something they'll do again. Sorry, I'm walking with the camera. So.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Not apologize. It's this podcast. This is organic and natural. I talk to the brilliant people like yourself and whatnot, and just I have all organic and natural. I don't care about if we walk around and whatnot.
I'm brilliant as much as I'm a high functioning idiot.
I say the same thing. When people like, sometimes they call me smart. I don't like it. I don't really think I'm smart at all. I just say I'm good at regurgitating other people's information they figured out, and that's about it. I haven't figured none of this shit out. I just recall what they said, and I just use that.
Fine. Consensus.
All right.
Wrong way.
Well, yeah, man, that's pretty fascinating. But do you think they're gonna? Do you think that Trump's lawsuit got any bearing, any merit? Because they did find some stuff like of dead people voting. They did find some stuff of collusion and whatnot. You think that's gonna? Do you think the Supreme Court is gonna hold that to any merit, or they just like throw out the thing and throw it to the side like they did with Al Gore in 2001, 2000?
2000, yes.
Yeah, 2000.
No, it was 04, wasn't it?
Was it 04 or Bush ran a second time. Florida. Bush won a second time. It was 04.
I don't think that with the relative situation we're in now, I mean, people can call coronavirus a hoax all they want, but people do die from it. And the thing about a death is if you voted before you died, the vote counts. If you died before you voted, obviously you didn't vote. We go about proving that. In the current climate where we're facing a bunch of deaths, not only from the coronavirus, but we also have the shootings for no reason, vehicular manslaughter at an all-time high. I mean, there's literally day drinking is a norm now. So there's just drunks out in public instead of on a podcast where they should be.
Right? Yeah. So we'll start a campaign like that. We'll say drunks get drunks on podcasts. And let them they can talk it out.
Right. America needs you and not shut up, but please don't drive.
Yeah. Yeah. We need you to voice your opinion, no matter how fucking drunk it is. I don't care if you slur.
That's probably the best part is that you could say the biggest gem of wisdom. You could tell somebody exactly what they needed to hear in the exact situations they needed to hear it. But if you say it in a way that makes you sound dumb, it's disregarded.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially you have a southern accent. People think they're just dumb because they have a southern accent. Because the way that, like you said, confirmation bias, but the way that southern accent that we've been sensitized to, people think that they're dumb. They don't have like a southern belle kind of accent. They think automatically those people are dumb. They can say the most brilliant things in the world, and they're like, oh, if you have like a strong southern accent, people just think you're dumb. Like they'll think you're the dumbest person that ever lived for some apparent reason. It's just weird.
That actually goes inversely too. You can say the dumbest things, and as long as you say them in a way that kind of projects confidence, and
yep.
if you throw big words in there, people are going to believe it. They're like, oh, this guy's smart. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, like I said, when the Earth was flat, because the atmospheric pressure doesn't rotate with the 365 degrees of the fudge, man, of the y-axis. I thought we lost it. I was about to convince you that the Earth is flat here in a little bit, but like we got a little bit of delay.
Well, no, I've actually looked into some of the science behind that flat Earth stuff, and it's really great because it's the only form of science that you can't replicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you can that something melts at a certain degree, and anybody can take that object and then take that degree of heat and melt the object. Mm-hmm. But the flat Earth theorists like to give these very specific scenarios that are almost anecdotal evidence, where they're like, well, I went above between the Twin Cities and viewed the sun at high noon, and the shadows on one were longer. Why would that be if the Earth was round? That specific I just give, by the way, actually proves that the Earth is round. But they'll say these things that sound scientific, but they're not.
No.
And if you actually take the specific experiments they do and try and replicate the results, you can't. And part of the scientific principle is that if you can't face peer review, it's not considered a scientific fact. In order for it to be a fact, it has to be either replicatable or you have to be unable to go against it. So the flat Earth science isn't science.
Pseudoscience at its finest, man. It's like for example, like they don't believe in gravity, right? Like they say gravity's non-existent. Gravity's non-existent. So you ask them like, why do things fall to the ground? They say because it's the overall mass of it is more dense than the Earth. Than the air, so everything falls to the ground. So okay, if that's the case. Why doesn't it fall left or right or to the or up and down? Why does it always fall straight down? Well, the overall they keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and then like says, what would you call that? They can't have an answer for it because you can't say gravity. If you say gravity, that proves the Earth is round. But if you don't say gravity, you can come up with like the science that you're trying to say right here. So if you always tell them like how I said, why do everything fall to the ground? They can never try it. You try it one day. Seriously, try it. Ask them why things fall to the ground. They can't give an answer other than the object's more dense than the Earth, and you can tell them like, okay, why is that? Why doesn't it fall to the left or to the right? Why doesn't it fall up? Because the air is more dense than the air. It's fascinating. But go ahead. He's about to say something.
Because I used to have a flat earth friend. He did a lot of math. One of the things gravity wasn't real was negative geotropism, which is how every living creature grows against gravity. And the reason why we grow against gravity is because scientifically any growth is against gravity.
Yep.
Unless it's downward growth.
Yeah.
But he was negative was how gravity didn't exist. But negative geotropism in itself is just the growth against gravity. So it's really funny because they take an actual scientific principle and they use that big word behind it, and then they try and say it's the exact opposite of what it actually is.
That's right. It's just fascinating, man. Oh gosh, it's kind of sad to see that movement kind of die. It's sad, but it's also a good thing because it didn't need to die. It was about time. But it's just some of the conversations they have and the overall belief, strong belief.
How many?
Good. What was your question?
Oh, I wasn't asking a question.
Oh, like it kind of lagged. It's like you said, how many, and then it just lagged. Well, yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, but he built a steam-powered rocket and killed himself with his own invention to prove that the Earth was flat. I was like,
it proved one thing to us, though. Science deniers aren't smart.
Yep.
He did prove that. So I guess in his own way, he contributed to the science that he denied.
Yep. It is. It's true. That's why I said, even though you may deem this person, there's no such things as stupid people. There's only dumb people. Because what you deem will be stupid, like him believing like his invention to go prove that the Earth is flat, we already know, all through the scientific evidence that we have and everything that we studied this for, I don't know, maybe hundreds of years. So,
actually,
before they, because they thought the Earth was flat.
Based on current archaeological evidence, it turns out in the Aztecs also knew the Earth was round.
It was round, yeah.
So they knew the Earth, the tree that Galileo came from, was founded.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always had our own provings that the Earth was round.
It was round for like thousands of years. I was going by like modern kind of style, whatever they're trying to say nowadays. That it was round for this long, but I can't build a steam power engine to launch up to space, but I knew the Earth was round. So to me, not me knowing how to build a steam powered fucking rocket, I might be a dumbass to this guy. But to me, he's a dumbass because he trying to prove that the Earth was flat, but he built a steam powered rocket. So it's like, unless there's no such thing as stupid people in the world, just only dumb people in the world.
Well, the saying on that is there's no such thing as stupid people, only stupid acts. But we also define people by their acts. So if the majority of the stuff you do is stupid, you're a stupid person. You can change that though by doing less stupid actions.
Yeah.
So you can kill a stupid person, but it's also pretty easy to become a stupid person.
Right.
Yeah. Really though, if he built the steam-powered rocket, even though it ended up killing him, he had to have some degree of intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He did.
intelligence at core is just the ability to ask and answer questions. Unfortunately for him, the question he wanted to ask was, is the Earth round? And he knew how to build a steam-powered propulsion device. But he wasn't smart enough to think, maybe people smarter than me know that the Earth is round, and I should ask them.
Right?
So, like, I've always wondered what childbirth is like. Maybe get pregnant. No.
No.
No. There are easy ways around having to answer every question ourselves. You don't even necessarily have to trust them. Just ask 5 people who've had a baby if it was fun. And you'll know, based on the little demographic, if it was fun.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. That's an excellent point, man. That's an excellent point. Can't argue that one. That's very true. Oh gosh, if I can remember that guy's name, I wanna remember that guy's name. If I can, I'll see if I can link the video or source the video to this now, or I can send it to you. Like I built that rocket and fucking died. The crazy part was this wasn't his first time doing it. The very first time he did it, he broke his back. Then the second time he did it, he
build the rocket after breaking his back. So he was not only smart to a degree that he could build rockets, he was resilient enough to severely injure himself and then build that really wanted to know a question that 90% of the population of this species could have answered for him.
Right? Right? He had to know. He had to know. Oh, man. Yeah. And
I can't powered rocket, but I could answer that question for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that and the crazy part too about that story, both times, the first time he got injured, it was due to his parachute not deploying. The second time he got injured, his parachute shot out, so he had no parachute to break the gravitational pull.
But he was more dense in the air.
Yeah, he was more dense in the air, so he to break his fall, and he died the second time. It's like, wow. Like I said,
that is some serious dedication.
It is. It is.
First, I'm not even gonna lie. If I built a rocket, even if I had faith in my ability as an engineer, if I built a rocket, I would not be the one that's flying it.
Yeah.
I would go find one of my dumb friends, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of history, buddy?" Your name one way or the other. That's what I would do. If that rocket failed, then I'd probably go to the center. I would just be like, someone else take this over. The last dude died. I wouldn't be my own engineering crash test dummy. Everybody has their ability to a degree, but goddamn, know your limits.
Right? You gonna test it out. First gonna do is me. I believe myself. I won't believe you. I'll trust in my own invention that I failed twice.
Well, I really, so I can sympathize with him. I'm a bit of a mechanic myself. I fix all my own cars, and I'm an appliance repairman as a trade. I don't like fixing other people's cars, though. Because if I fix my car, I'm like, fuck it. If it breaks, it breaks. I fix someone else's car, and I'm like, sure to tell me if anything goes wrong and I'm breaking your car. And I'll worry myself about it, and I'll be like, fuck, did I break their car? But when it's I don't give a shit. The car's lighter now. It's aerodynamic.
It's lighter now. It's aerodynamic. Exactly, right? Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
I'm a shitty mechanic.
Right?
I guess to that extent I could see where he'd be like, I built this and I'm going to test it because I believe in myself. But like those old friendship.
The crazy part is to me, with the modern technology we have, and everything like that, and especially our high power cameras that shoot 360-degree range. Why he just didn't test it with that before he went out there himself? Like this test.
I actually know the answer to this.
What's up?
They like blaming NASA because NASA disproved literally everything they say. They like blaming NASA. So their response to that is that is not actually a 360-degree photo. That is NASA taking pictures from multiple angles, similar to satellites, but they don't really believe that NASA's into space. So they believe that NASA is taking multiple pictures from multiple angles together to make it look like it's, and then so yeah, they actually think NASA has more technology than they actually do, but they don't believe that NASA's been to space.
So the technology that they do have, right? Where do you think it come from? Do you think it's from extraterrestrial life, or do they just think they're holding out on the technology we have here? Do they believe in aliens?
Technically speaking, humans actually are aliens.
Yeah, we're aliens.
From amino acids that came from asteroids hundreds of millions years ago. And that we evolved with other amino acids. So technically, we are the aliens. The factual statement that why would I go and stipulate that it's impossible for that to happen on another planet? So I don't necessarily think that there's aliens on Mars that want to anally probe me, and not ruling out the possibility. Aliens, we're the only planet that sustains life in a universe that we can't even measure by a current means. Kind of ignorant.
You don't think there's aliens on Mars?
I bet the Martians are freaky.
So what about the aliens we brought there on our rovers, our bacteria?
Talking about them, for all we know, in 10 million years,
there might be humans on Mars.
Admiral Corky that stalks the plains of Mars in search for what looks like anime cat girls as food. I don't know. Like the possibility is endless. I doubt seeing anime cat girls.
Right? I kind of thought about that too. It's like there might be anime cat girls. There might be anime cat girls. You never know. They might evolve to that with the with the Martian DNA. Oh man.
No.
I know, right? It's possible. We can all dream, can't we? Anything's possible.
Technically, we can't even be certain that there isn't subterranean life on Earth.
Oh, it's hollow Earth theory?
No, not the hollow Earth theory. Subterranean.
Oh, subterranean. Okay.
Cave networks across every continent and under oceans. We haven't even explored the fucking ocean yet. So we can't even say that we are technically the dominant form of life on this planet because we're just on the surface. We haven't explored inward. There could be life on the moon. We don't know. There's that we haven't even bothered into, because not only do we have the technological limitations, but how would you explain it? Like, I want to drill into the Earth because there might be anime cat girl mole people down there. All right. It's scattered if you do that. You can build the drill, but they're still going to fire you.
Right.
The next time, I'm going to go for that. And that's how we discover the anime cat girl mole people.
Let's do it. I'm down. Let's make it happen. We can get Elon Musk on this. If we can get Elon Musk on this, I think we can do it.
All right, we're gonna have Elon Musk on this, but we're gonna have to get him to focus. So he's gonna have to stop with the boring companies, stop with SpaceX, and keep making Teslas. But we're gonna have to get him to act focus on getting the anime cat girl people.
Exactly.
If we could get to help too, that fucking nerd would love it.
Hell yeah, they would. Oh yeah, hell yeah, they would. That'd be all over it, man. We can get this going. I think we can do it. We come with a good PowerPoint presentation. You know, maybe.
Yeah, Bezos and say we can have tunnel delivery for Amazon tunnel into your house, and I bet he would fund it all.
He would, because he's already talking about making a train that takes you from LA to Las Vegas, and
that's I was talking about Jeff Bezos.
Oh, my bad, Jeff Bezos. I thought he was talking. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no. The idea is crazy, but I like it. I like it because it's a tunnel with no speed limit.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to die, but like faster?
You ever want to die?
Yeah.
You ever want to die and be buried already? You don't know where.
Very subsequent crash. The funny thing about the Boring company that's doing that is, first off, its name is the Boring Company. Right? You know their number one selling product?
What's that?
Flamethrowers.
What? Flamethrowers are the number one selling product.
I mean, come on. Yeah. Made a bunch of flamethrowers, just sold them to people, and it took the government a while to catch on to be like, this isn't a joke. He's really giving people real flamethrowers. Like, his 20-foot flames, like, he's really doing that.
Oh, my goodness, man. The more you know, man.
Yeah, personally, if I ever met Elon Musk, I would be terrified, because that amount of genius in the same body as that amount of insanity.
Oh, man.
You really do. You could have a satellite melt you in half with a laser, and that he might have been planning that the whole time. That might have been an accident. You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Oh yeah, Elon Musk is fascinating. Elon Musk is. That guy is fascinating, man. Even his whole story, even how his whole come up was fascinating. It's just out.
Came from Canada with $12 sounded PayPal thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's from Canada.
No, he went to Canada with like $12. Yeah, and then he like did American company shit, and that's how he got rich.
Yeah, and it was quick too. But he still have that old human primal instinct to look good. He got that hair. He got that fake hair. He was bald. He was balding. He was all that genius. He's still a little vain. He still wants to look good. Right.
There's actually quite a few geniuses in the world that only get recognized because they came to America, they got rich, and then kind of stopped being as genius.
Yep.
They're rich now. Why do
they have everything they wanted? The drive, the ambition, the creativity's gone now.
About Elon Musk, that's what I like about him. He's still rich, but he thinks things like, why don't we give people flamethrowers? Why don't we build tunnels? Why don't we make the fastest production car in the world? He does these things on a whim. And yeah, it's probably dangerous. It's probably going to have a lot of consequences, but it's cool as shit.
Right, it is. It is. He's a dreamer for sure. He is a visionary, a dreamer. And this guy, oh man, there's so much stuff about Elon Musk. Gotta have an Elon Musk episode one day. We can just all gush over Elon Musk.
Ate like a bunch of Adderall and just put him in a room full of spare parts.
Oh, dude, you know he'll create the Iron Man suit. I bet you, I guarantee he would make that Iron Man suit. I bet he'll figure out the propulsions on that. I'm quite sure I bet he'll make the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I mean, he is the closest thing we have to both Iron Man and Batman. He's egotistical, a little crazy, probably emotionally damaged, but it's all fun. Yeah, he's Iron Man and Batman just mashed together.
Right, pretty much, yeah, he is. All right, buddy. Hey, you got any closing statements? I have to go to bed here soon. I thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. And I'm sorry I want to do a round table, but thank you for being the only one. This podcast was it's one of the best ones yet. I love it. You got anything you want to say to anybody?
I don't remember most of what it said.
You know, listen back to this and you realize, oh, Elon Musk is going to call you later. I gave you. You got.
Because I imagine his parents are still alive.
All right. I think they are.
Yeah. Closing statements, the only thing I would have to say is I forgot what we started with.
Politics. We started with politics, left versus right. Start with the.
Why?
Cut out. Thank you. I mean, it was a great speech, ladies and gentlemen. You guys missed it. It was a beautiful speech, man. He had a freaking. He would make Edgar Allan Poe cry with this great speech he had. You missed it, but I just want to say thanks for being on, man. I appreciate you. We'll do this again sometime, man. I think I gotta work on my connection. I think it's my connection because you're the second person I had that I kept cutting out on, and I don't think it's your guys. I think it's mine.
The only time I'm never free is on weekends. The rest of the time I'm at work.
All right, hell yeah, buddy.
Get 2 jobs, it's worth it.
Yeah. Just always stay busy. Can't get in trouble.
Yep.
Hell yeah, buddy. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon, man. You have a good night. Be safe out there.